It is so nice to be here with you guys today. I teach 7th and 8th grade art here at PA Virtual. So whenever you guys get to 7th and 8th grade, I will be your art teacher. And it's been so much fun. This upcoming year will be my 5th year with the school. And I just love teaching you guys virtually all across PA. Right now here in Pittsburgh, where I live, it's been raining a bunch this week. Has it been raining for any of you guys this week at all? So we were supposed to be outside doing sidewalk chalk art, and it's raining so much here I couldn't do it. So we kind of brought it inside. And so what I'm going to show you guys today, you can do outside the same way with outside chalk. It's the same thing. But if it's raining, or if you want to do the project inside, or maybe during the winter time or a time where you can't be outside, this is great. So this actually works with all different types of art media. Do you guys know what art media means when I say that? Let me know in the chat if you guys can guess what art media means. Or when we say media, what do we mean? Types of art I see from Stephen. Does anyone know? Well, art media pretty much means art supplies. I saw Sabrina say that. So we can do this with paint, with chalk, with colored pencils, with crayons, with oil pastels, pretty much whatever supplies you have, we can do it. And I have my little helper here today. I have 2 dogs that are in the room with me, so you might see them pop up. So if it's not raining at your house, you can do this outside with chalk, with the tools I'm going to tell you today. But if it's inside, you can do it with whatever tools you have at home. So you do need some kind of tape to do this project inside or outside, and that's going to give us our borders because we're going to make kind of mosaic style art. Do you guys know what mosaic art means? In the chat, I know this is a couple of vocabulary words for art class, but we're just going to say them real quick at the beginning, get started. Stephen, I think, made one, sort of shapes, Emma says. So when we say mosaic art, it's usually little shapes or pieces that make a big piece of art. So we're going to make little tiny shapes, and then when we take the tape off, it's going to make one piece of art. So if you're doing this outside or inside, you do need tape. Now, can you use any tape for this? Can you use like Scotch tape? Probably not. That won't work. You need painter's tape, which is the blue tape I have here, or even some kind of masking tape will work. Painter's tape works the best though. So if you have tape, or if you have, if your family has painter's tape, that's actually perfect. Again, it's that blue tape that you kind of use when you paint your house to keep the edges from getting paint on them. So I have some tape here. You also need your paper or your supplies. So if you're not outside doing this on your sidewalk, you need some kind of paper. Now, can you use printer paper? That's probably not thick enough for you to use. So there's some different options. I actually really like getting mixed media paper when I make art, and this is perfect for actually doing paint or oil pastels. It's a little bit of a thicker paper. I ripped out one piece here, but if you touch it, it's a little bit of a different texture than computer paper. It can hold, you know, if you did paint or anything else for supplies. Can you use construction paper, like black construction paper? It'll work, but when we take the tape off, it might take a little bit of the paper with it. So this is an okay option, but I really like using something a little bit thicker for this. And lastly, what I have is I have canvas. Do you guys know what canvas is? Looking in the chat. Canvas is what you paint with. So you can go to your art supply store like Michael's or Joanne Fabrics, or there's different art supply stores depending on what town you live. But sometimes they'll, or even, I think even Walmart and Target sells it. It's a little bit of a thicker amount, and on the back, it has this displayed. So you can use canvas if you're doing this as well. So today I'm gonna pick, I want you guys to vote. Do you guys want me to use the canvas, or do you want me to use the heavier mixed media paper? Let me know in the chat. We're gonna have you kind of vote on what supplies I use. So I see a couple people for paper, one for canvas. It's kind of 50-50 right now. paper. Okay, we'll do both. How about that? So what we're going to do for this first project, and you could do the same for outside if you're using your sidewalk, is you need to get your canvas or your paper ready. And what we're going to do now is, this is my favorite part of this, is we're going to make our design, and you're going to do that with the tape. Anywhere that we put tape down, it'll stay the same color as the canvas or paper. So if I wanted to do this, maybe I wanted to make this a black canvas, I could paint the canvas black before I start and let it dry, and then put our tape on so the background would be black. Or if I wanted to make this a red background or a green background, you could do that. We're not doing chalk today, I see in the chat, just because it's raining here in Pittsburgh and my tape wouldn't stick to my sidewalk and it would be gone. Or Art, you want to pick this, if you're going to do this outside, you want to pick it where you have a stretch of a couple of days where it doesn't rain, because you don't want to do all this hard work for it just to kind of get messed up from the rain, right? But you know, you can do it the same exact way if you do this on your sidewalk with your paper and or you would be using tape and sidewalk. So I like to take little strips of my paper, and you can even cut this in half with scissors to make these a little bit of a skinnier piece. But what you're going to do is you're just going to start taping it down really well to your canvas or paper. So I have my first little tape, and I just like to take my hands and smooth it out. You don't want any bubbles, because that's where the paint or any of your art supplies are going to go. So we want to keep this part nice and secure. And then from here, what we're going to do is we can do any design that we want. Like I said, you can cut this in half. I like to kind of go down and kind of break up my canvas and put a piece more vertical on my paper. And then from there, I can make small or little pieces. And you would just keep on going. See if I can do this upside down until you have your whole canvas done. Now, I'll probably do half of this, and then I'll probably do some on the paper to show you guys in case you have it. If you don't have tape, you are going to want to get it for this project to do at home. So you can just watch how you do it, how you're going to do it this first time, and get tape to try at home. Tape is really important to keeping those lines and to make it look mosaic, okay? You can, you know, you could use a ruler and kind of draw out these lines if you wanted to, if you really didn't have tape, but I like to use tape for this. This is kind of a crucial part of the art supplies that you need. You can do this with crayons, colored pencils, chalk, but the tape is really important. So I'm just kind of here picking my designs. You might see a triangle shape, right? Some different fun shapes, and then I just kind of keep going. And each time I do this, what I like is that it comes out so different. And so while you're doing this part, you could start to think about what colors you want to use. Do you want this all to be one color? Do you want to use multiple colors? You could pick 3 colors to go from. And so every time I do this, I like to do it a little bit different. A couple times I use just cool colors. Do you guys know what cool colors are? Have you heard of cool colors? Can someone tell me? Steven says green, that's correct. Blue, I see. Good job. Anything else? Yellow. Purple. Yellow would be considered a warm color. So when I say warm colors, we're talking about anything that would be warm. So red would be a warm color. So you could do this all cool or warm colors. You could do this rainbow. You could pick one color, right? There's so many different options. So I'm just going in and kind of reinforcing with my tape, my design. So you guys can see this. And then there's a couple air bubbles. So I just go over with my finger and just really secure and press this down. And so this is a really fun family project because you can make this with a bunch of different people too. If you have siblings or friends, you can all pick a part of the canvas to make. So I think this is a really fun project. Next week at summer camp on Friday, I'm teaching you guys a cooking class on making fun snacks. And so you can make this a movie night party, right? You can make some art, make some snacks, watch a movie. So that could be a really fun family night to keep in mind. I really like to do stuff with a bunch of people, and then you guys have all of this art that you've contributed to. It's such a fun collaboration. So I'm just gonna do a little bit more on my design. Do you guys like how it's coming out? I think it's coming out so far pretty good. I want to pick some small pieces, some big pieces. That's a lot of fun. Some more triangles. And then at the end, I'm just going to go all around and make sure that nothing is going to get into our bubbles. While I do this, do you guys want me to paint or use chalk? I want you guys to vote. I have lots of art supplies. I have crayons, I have paint, I have some chalk, I have oil pastels. What do we want to do for this one? Maybe we'll do two different ones. So I see some paint, some chalk, people are voting as I finish up my design. All right, maybe we'll do paint for this one because it's canvas, and then we'll do chalk for the paper. I think that'll be fun. All right, so this is how I'm gonna do my first side. So you guys like how it turned out? So everywhere where I put blue tape, it'll be white, and I wanna paint this, but I wanna let it dry before I remove the tape. So anywhere where you saw it, I would just remove it and it would stay white. So keep that in mind. And you can do one side or the whole side. I'm only gonna do half of it today just to save on time. But I'm gonna finish up my art project on the paper to get this ready for when we do the chalk. So we're gonna kind of do the same thing. I'm just gonna, you can make initials with this, and wherever you pull it up, like I said, the paint will be white as the canvas. So maybe this one I'll do slightly different. Right, start a line. You want to make sure you have a decent amount of tape for this. And also I like this because you don't need to have any artistic really background to do this. It can be fun for everyone of every age. How many of you guys think you could do this at home? Just ripping tape and putting it down? So far pretty easy, right? All right, let's see. Show you guys what I'm doing with this one. And each time you do this, it's so fun because it comes out slightly different. You just want to make sure you really get all of those edges down. So mine's coming out a little bit different, right? Pretty fun. Now, can you do a couple different art mediums for this? Could you do paint and chalk and everything else together? Sure, right? You can do mixed media where we combined a couple different art mediums. That would work as well. All right, so I will start. I'll start painting. I saw the comment asking me to start painting very soon. So you also can make these into bookmarks. So what could be fun is you can make several bookmarks for school, and you can have them, and then you made homemade bookmarks. Those make fantastic gifts as well. So after they dry, you can cut them into strips, and those would make, you know, wonderful back to school presents if you have siblings or birthday presents or anything like that, or friends. I really like that. So we'll get started with paint. Why don't you guys vote? Do you want me to do warm colors or cool colors to paint while I get set up? Warm colors or cool colors? I want to see you guys leave a comment. Both? We'll pick one for each. What do you guys want me to do for the paint part? And I'm getting my painting cups kind of set up. I'm going to pick 3 colors for this one.
It looks like people are liking the cool colors. Seems to be
cool colors. Okay, we'll pick cool colors to start. And you want to have some paintbrushes that are nice and, you know, different sizes are kind of nice depending on your shape. So I have some smaller ones. I have some bigger ones here. I'm going to get my cool colors. So let's do blue. Let's pick green. And let me see what else we have. I have 2 shades of blue. We'll pick that. So those look good to start. All right, these are all cool colors. So I'm just gonna put them in my painting dishes. And you can use any kind of paints that you like. Tempera paints or acrylic paints are great. And I have some acrylic paints here today, but tempera paints work wonderful as well. And you can find them in the student area at most art stores. Okay, and then before I start, this one we're gonna do in a second, so I'm gonna move that away. I'm just gonna push this all down. So there's little air bubbles that kind of happen. I just wanna smooth it out before we start putting anything on and make sure it's really secure. Now, if you are outside doing chalk with this, same thing. You wanna go back and just really press down before you start doing anything with your chalk. But it's the same idea outside or inside. All right, so I'm gonna grab some green. And what I like to do with this is I like to make each section a different color. So for mine, I'm gonna pick every other section to do green and then go back to the next ones with blue. And that's just personal preference. I think that it's kind of nice. So I'm just gonna go over, and you can go on top of the blue tape that we left. That's fine because it's really secure. It's going to give you a nice edge of whatever color your background is. And then you can go over it a couple times if you want it to be a darker color as well. So I'm just going to show you guys. So I'm going to skip this one because it's next to it. I'm going to go here next. And that's just personal preference. You can make it all one color. You could do multiple colors. You don't really need a lot of paint on your paintbrush. It kind of spreads pretty easily. And if you like it to be a bolder color, you can go back in after it dries and do a couple layers. I like to do that sometimes. How many of you guys like to paint? Do any of you guys paint at home?
We also did have a question from Steven. He just said, is it okay if your paints are oily?
Yeah, and if it's oily, you can just mix it. Usually that's the easiest way, is if you just take a minute with your paintbrush and really just mix it in well, it usually will come back and be a darker solid color. But you can use any paints. You could do watercolor paints. Have anyone done watercolor paints before? They're a little bit of a thinner paint versus acrylic or tempera paint, which is kind of nice. So I'm just kind of going around, and you can get it on the blue tape because we're going to remove that. So one of the ways I like this is that you can kind of be not sloppy with it, but you don't have to be really precise. You can be a little bit, it's a lot more forgiving than if you paint a picture of a person, right? And you have to go in really carefully. So this is really a fun project, and anyone at any age can do this. If you have younger people at your house that you're trying to do this with, you might want to do the tape part for them or help them do the tape part, but the painting part is really fun. So I'm just kind of picking and choosing where I want this green to be. And then I'm going to go in now with the blues. So I have a light blue and a dark blue. And again, it's kind of artistic choice of where you want to put it. That looks good so far. And then I could go back in and make it a little bit darker as well. So I'm going to change paintbrushes because we're going to go in with a different color. So I'm going to go in with dark blue and pick where I want it. And then this will take some time to dry. You want to make sure you can touch it and you don't get any paint on your hands or your fingers before you remove the tape. This is a little bit of a patient project, but when it comes out at the end, you'll be able to pull it aside and it makes a really fun one. So I really like, this one's a really fun. By the time if you made this for movie night, by the time you finished your movie, you could all take off all the tape, and then that would be such a fun summer night, I think, for everyone. You could even sign where, if you did this with multiple people, where your spot was. I've also done this in black and white, and that looks really fun. You could do, I've had students do it in ombre colors, and they really like that. So there's no right or wrong way to do this. And again, you can do this with chalk outside. This is really fun. And I like to get chalks of all different colors. Really, the more colors outside, it really does stand out and pop. All right, I'm gonna do the green. I have one more spot I see for green I wanna put, and then I'm gonna do the light. So I'm gonna go back in with the green brush just down here. I forgot one spot. All right, looks pretty good. You guys like it so far? I might do a second coat just so it comes out a little bit darker. And then let's finish it off with the light blue, and then we'll move to the chalk part. This kind of looks like the same color as the tape almost. And you can add white paint or black paint to make it a darker or lighter color. Do any of you guys make your own colors in paint? Like if you wanted to make pink, how would you make pink? Anyone make pink? I see a couple people in the chat that say they do. And you can make different shades of colors or tints of colors. We talk about that a lot in 7th and 8th grade art, making your own colors. Okay. All right, so now what I would do if I was all finished, I would let this dry completely. And then when you're done, like I said, you can remove that tape. And I'll show you guys at the end just a little bit. It'll not be 100% dry, but I'll give you a little preview of what it would look like. Okay, let's go over to our paper one. So like I said, this can be a really fun project to do bookmarkers for school coming up. I think that's a lot of fun. And you can use any supplies you have. So I'm the art teacher, right? So I have a whole room in my house dedicated to art supplies. Can you imagine all of those art supplies? Where does she put them all? Well, I have lots of bins and lots of things in bags. These are some oil pastels I have, but you guys said chalk. And with chalk, it does make your hands a little bit, it comes off on your hands a lot. It's not like using crayons. So I always like to have lots of napkins around, especially when you're painting too. You should have like an apron on. You should have an area that's not going to get messed up. Don't do this near your school computer, right? You want to make sure it's nice and safe. But with chalk, it does get on your hands, especially when you're outside and you're doing it. So I do have a bag of chalk, all different colors. And again, I'm going to pick some warm colors you guys said for this one. So I have an orange, let's see, maybe we'll do pink, yellow. Let's start with those 3. So we'll start with 3 to start. And because this is a multimedia paper, remember we talked about that at the beginning, I like to use this because it's a little bit of a thicker paper than computer paper. Computer paper, it kind of just will slide right off, but this does have, if you felt it, it has a little bit more texture. So it's really fun, and you're gonna do it the same exact way we just did the paint. You can get over the blue paper, and with chalk, you know, the harder you press down, the more vibrant color you're gonna get. So I really like to take a moment and really press all the way down. You also can take your finger and smooth out the colors. Did you guys know that when you use chalk? So what I like to do is I like to go all the way around my paper, and then at the end, I use my pointer finger and I just kind of blend in. Do you guys know how to blend? You blend in that color, and then it'll make it fill in any of the extra white gaps that we have. You guys see that? And I just took my finger and just blended it in. This paper is called mixed media paper. I just find it at, I think they have it at every art store. I like to grab this one, but on the paper, it actually says acrylic, watercolor, pencil, and pen and pencil. So this is any kind of, you get any kind of these like nice books that you guys get with the paper in it, check, and it should say if it can do paints and also pen and paper. And you would find this at, you know, Michael's, Joann Fabrics, Walmart even probably has it, or Target. So it's pretty local, and you would want to just read it. The dollar store might have something similar. I know I've seen canvas at the dollar store as well, so that's really nice. And so I'm just going to do the same thing. You don't have to worry about getting on the blue paper. You can just take each color, put it in a different section. You can make this all one color, whatever you like. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my finger. I'm going to take a different finger, not the one I've just put in yellow, or you can wash your hands, and just blend in that one. So I'm just going to take a moment and try to get in any of the white spots. And this kind of really helps to make it glow. And then you'll just keep going. Do any of you guys think you guys are going to try this out? This is kind of a burnt orange one I'm doing now. How many of you guys think you're gonna try this at home? And I wanna know how many of you guys are gonna make chalk art with this. I had it all set up that we were gonna do this out my porch, which is always so much fun. But with the rain and everything we've had all week, it unfortunately didn't work. But you do wanna just look ahead on the forecast and make sure that it's not gonna rain the day after you do this, because it does take a little bit of time and you don't want all your hard work to kind of just, you know, this turns out really fun. So let's grab 2 more colors. Grab a little bit of a darker orange. And so you can do different multiple colors. You know, if you have in your chalk, there might be a couple different greens or a couple oranges that you can play around. Then I'm using another finger just to kind of blend this one. All right, we have 2 more spots. Let me finish this up for you guys.
Now, Paula was asking, can you make like an ombre in a section? So that would be, you know, the different colors, so they could do that?
Definitely. You can do ombre. I've had lots of students love to do that. You also could do all one color. You could do 2 colors and kind of go back and forth. Really, there's no right or wrong way. This is your art project, and that's something I like to teach in my classes. I give a lot of my students, you know, we give what I want you to do, but then there's so much artistic freedom to make it your own way. So, you know, like I said, you can do this with crayons, colored pencils, with chalk, outside, inside, with paint. So much fun. All right, so this guy is done. And what's nice about using crayons or chalk or colored pencils is you don't have to wait for it to dry, right? It's already finished. So the trick with getting the tape off is to be really patient and take your time. Don't just try to rip it off at once. Kind of go section by section like you put it on. If you're doing chalk outside, you can just take it all off. The Sidewalk is a little bit more forgiving than paper, you know, depending on what you use. So I like to kind of peel it off, but just do it a little bit slower and take my time, just like I put it on. So I'm gonna give you guys the grand reveal. So what's nice is you can see the nice lines that the tape gave. And what also you could do is you could cut the tape in half, right, and make skinnier pieces if you didn't want it to be nice and thick. But that's kind of the idea for the project. And so it makes these little shapes and it makes kind of a mosaic style. So I just take my time. It's kind of, I think it's fun taping it and untaping it as well. You can kind of see your design happen. Right, nice. And then I could cut these into bookmarks as well, I think, and that would be so fun. And then if you wanted to add anything on top of it, you could like go back and do splatter paint on top of this to give it a different look for it. You could even go back and paint some of this or add some chalk or whatever you'd like. You could add maybe the person's name in these little white spots. So I might put I could put Mrs. Jaroudi and make it my own little design. So just because we took it off at this point, right, you can keep going as long as you'd like and add as much as you'd like or as little as you'd like, right? This is your project. And each time you do this, it comes out a little bit different. I also wrapped the tape around the back, which sometimes is very helpful to getting it off if you add a little bit of extra tape to the back. And then I'm going to show you guys with the paint, but it's just the same exact way. Okay, this all came off really nice. So then the extra tape you can throw away, but you're left with a really fun art project, and they're all really nice, nice sharp lines. And then you could go back in and make it however you'd want. Okay. All right, let's go to the paint one. Now my paint is not dry, so I'm gonna do my best not to touch it, right? You should wait till this actually dries first. But it's the same idea whenever we go to take it off. So I just take my time and kind of do piece by piece and try to get the pieces that you put on top. So if you did multiple layers of the paint, see, starting to get out the same thing.
And how long should people maybe give it to dry? Just, half hour?
I would give it like an hour or two. You want to make sure
Okay.
that you can, I would even do like a little test part, maybe a part that you painted over here. It should be dry. You should be able to touch it without it getting on your hands before you do this part. I just know that you guys don't want to wait out an hour for me to see this, right? So I'm showing you guys a little bit early. But you should, if you made this for movie night, by the time the movie was over, it would be done probably. So that's a good.
Yeah, Stephen was saying his suggestion was to use white to paint on top when the paint's still wet to make a nice cool effect.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, and you can even do multiple layers. So if you wanted to paint it once and then let it dry and then add little something on top or designs and then let that dry, that would totally work. And just take your time. This part is a little bit longer just to pull everything off, but it does make a difference if you take your time. So you get nice clean edges. And then if you have any parts like I have, like I let it, this wasn't dry, so you didn't get as sharp of an edge there, you could go back and fix it up with white paint if you needed it. But there's my cool colors and my warm colors project. And last summer, for the summer camp, we did do it outside, and it did turn out really cool on our patio. And I actually got lots of compliments when we had people over looking at the cool art. So you actually could do it all the way up, your front steps or in your backyard if you have a patio or anywhere with sidewalk. And it's so fun. And nowadays they make so many fun products that you can get, like stencils, and you can do it's pretty much we're making our own stencils with the tape. But you could do stencils with chalk art. They even have chalk paint I saw at the store when I was buying the supplies. So there's so much really fun products. And I think my biggest tip for you guys is just to have fun with this. Try it multiple different ways. Try it with the material you have. If you can get the blue painter's tape, it works the best. It won't pull at your paper. Masking tape works as well. You just want to go a little bit slower with it, taking it off. But I hope you guys have fun with this and you'll do lots of projects different ways and have fun. So I think I'm gonna make these into some bookmarks. I think that's a really good idea. And you can do this with any supplies you have, oil pastels, colored pencils, crayons. It works with all of it. So I hope you guys will make it and let us know. And yeah, last year we did the session outside. You guys can check it out on the YouTube channel of me doing it outside. So it's the same way inside or outside with whatever you have will definitely work. So I hope you guys enjoy this. Does anyone have any questions on our projects? I think you guys can do this, right? You guys all feel like you guys can make this. It's pretty easy. I think it's a lot of fun. So I hope you guys will give it a try. Is there a place they can send photos if they do make the art? I'd love to see what you guys do.
Yeah, so you guys, in the emails that we send you with the confirmation for the sessions, if you guys want to send photos, you can send it to that. You can also send it into our info. I'll actually just put it here in the chat. When you send your passport to us, you could always email photos too if you want of your projects. We'd love to see it and share it if you guys would like that. So if anybody has any other questions, you can put it in the chat. Otherwise, thanks so much, Brittany. We really appreciate you, and I hope everybody comes back next Friday and joins the session. I think it's going to be awesome. Sounds super fun. So we hope to see you guys there, and of course at other sessions. So if there's no other questions, thank you all for joining today. I'm going to stop the recording and head out. But thanks to all of you. Have a wonderful day and a wonderful weekend.